Good afternoon and welcome back to the Iris Awards for 2024. We are looking at the Portrait Open category this afternoon, and so I'll read out the category description if I can find it. Here it is. This category is for traditional, conceptual and/or interpretive photographic portraits. There are no restrictions on the type of portrait entered. However, a portrait of an animal or animals without a human are excluded from this category. This category is also sponsored by Ilford. Thank you for being with us today. We're going to start the run through now. So is everybody ready? Excellent. Okay, so I'll just introduce myself because I didn't do that a minute ago. I am Belinda Richards. I've come all the way across the ditch from Australia to be with you today. I've got Olivia Wakefield as my assistant, and we've got an exciting panel of judges who are waiting to get things underway. Today on our panel we've got Craig Turner-Bullock. We'll start off with you, if you could make your way up the front, Craig. Sarah Lee Cobb, if you can take a seat. Faru Yavari, can you please take a seat? Lizzie Gilmore and Christopher Ian. We also have Tony Carter, Joe Francis Moore and Mike Langford will also be joining us judging this afternoon as well. We've got a total of 64 images to get through this afternoon, and I'm excited to get started. Is everybody ready? Yep. Can we have the first print, please? And we have an initial score of 76. Are we all happy with that? Yes, and that's a bronze award. Craig, can we have a comment for the photographer?
Yeah, I really like this take on the classic see no, hear no, speak no, and the fourth evil is our phones. We can all empathise with that, I think. To improve it more, I would just like to see some more drama in the lighting, maybe darken it down a little bit, make it more angular and a bit more separation from the background as well.
Thanks, Craig. That's great feedback. Can we have the next print, please? We have a silver award at 81. Is everybody happy? Congratulations to the photographer. Can we please have a comment from Lizzie?
Yeah, I think the lighting control is absolutely exquisite, and the palette and that wonderful gaze of the woman. Really well done, photographer.
Thanks, Lizzie. Can we have the next print, please?
Thank you, judges. We've got an 80, that is a silver award, and we will accept that.
And we have a bronze award at 75. Congratulations to the photographer. The scoring was relatively even there, just within a few points of one another. Does somebody have anything in particular? Can I have a comment from Faru? Thanks, Faru.
Yeah, very interesting concept. Perhaps the lighting is a bit bright, and perhaps different lighting setup, different angle to bring more attention to the main subject, which is height between those.
Thanks for that, Faru. Very helpful. Can we have the next print, please? For those of you who can't be with us live today, we've got 5 judges on the panel who all get up to see the print up close, they study it, and then come back and make their assessment. It's a really worthwhile thing to be here in person to watch the live judging. There's so much to learn. So if you are in the Christchurch area today, tomorrow, come on down and join in. And we have a bronze award at 76. We're all within a few points of each other, so great consistent scoring there, guys. Can we have a comment from Sarah Lee?
What a beautiful, clean, crisp close-up of 2 faces. I assume they're siblings because there's so much comparison that we can, and similarity we can see and compare in the image. I think we have seen this style a few times over the recent years, and so that creativity or that ingenuity could just be explored a little bit more to raise the points or the scoring with this image.
Thanks, Sarah Lee. I'm sure that was really helpful for the photographer. Can we have the next print, please?
What could go wrong? All of the above. And this man is giving it to us. Hey. And then there's this wonderful graphic of the X that's formed in the triangle underneath. What a powerful, strong image. He's the gun line. I'd be afraid of my life as well. I mean, they're as mates, they'll be supportive of it. That's their goal. Wow. I gave it a 93.
And we have an initial score of 76, a bronze award, with a challenge from Craig. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll take this one. So I've scored at 84. I think a silver range is where this one sits. I just really like the potential in this. Like, this is a young person, free of inhibitions. There's no restrictions from society that has been imposed on them yet. And looking out into the lake is, you know, a feeling of optimism. I don't know why that's doing that. So yeah, a few more points will be really good. Let's get it up to a silver.
Lizzie, you're at the other end. Could we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I went in there looking for some sort of quirky Easter egg, something that really would make it stand out and give reason for the image, and I really struggled to kind of sit my eye upon something other than just a really sweet, cute image of a baby's bum.
Can I just hear from you, Sarah Lee? You're sitting in the middle there.
I was very similar. I scored at a 79. I was quite similar along with Lizzie of searching for more of that story. But I agree with Craig that it's beautifully captured and it looks absolutely lovely, and it does remind me of so many summers at the beach with, you know, the kids running around without clothes, because that's part of being a Kiwi kid. But I think there's so much more storyline that could be brought to this image, and I would love to see that in future works by the photographer.
Right. Has anyone got anything else to add?
Yeah, I'm really inside with everyone, and I want to add to it. That's the line in horizon actually passing like in the middle, and it's a bit distracting as well. I really want to see this concept in a more creative, maybe quirky composition.
All right, Craig, right of reply.
I quite like that it's been given it to us straight like this. I think it would be easy to contrive a scene like this. I feel like this is an organic moment that has been captured really well. Yes, the horizon could be placed better. It could be levelled out a little bit more. But I think the way that the light is falling, the positioning of those hands, and that emotional response I got from it, that's why I'm up in the 80s. And if you can come up a few more points, that would be awesome.
Thanks, Craig. If your score stays the same, if the other judges could re-enter their scores, please. And it stays at 76, Bronze Award. Can I have the next print, please? Ooh, this is a straight into the silver distinction range at 86. And Craig would like to take the challenge. Have at it.
I'm on 92. This is just so filled with sadness, but such grace and beauty. It's really delicate. The tonality is really fitting of the mood, and if you think about how this has been printed as well, there's so much softness there, but then the paper choice has added like a hard textural element to it that feels almost like it's frosted glass that is protecting that delicacy that sits behind it. And I think, yeah, for me, easy gold.
Thanks, Craig. Can I hear from you, Christopher? You're at the other end.
I see a lot of issues between the forehead and the nose bridge, as if the back eye had winked in and you tried to correct it later in post, because there is some very strange pixels between the top of the forehead and the nose bridge, again, as if people have tried to fix something later on by dodging, burning, cloning. And if that's not the case, you've actually presented the forehead in a very ugly way. The other thing that would have been a benefit would be a shift lens effect, where at least from the eyes there was a degree of some focus that went to almost no focus at the base. That would have looked more supremely, because the eyes are just a little too diffused for me. But I have been cruel at 73. I'm coming up.
Thanks for that. Faru, you're in support here.
Yes, I give it 88. I'm so close. I definitely come up to 90 because it's just remind me a famous painter, Modigliani, which his subject, there is no eye open, and it's like exactly the same. It has such a painting feeling on it. The color palette is just mesmerizing. She's the beauty sleep in the eyes, and you can see even the drop of the water on a surface, which you can see it from here, but when you go in closer, you see that, and I think that's a bonus at the top of the image. I definitely come up to gold because it really sits well in that range.
Thanks, Faru. Did anybody have anything new to add? No? Craig?
Yeah, the depth in this for me is front to back. I don't see any problems with pixels here. I think what you see on the face there is that sharpness in the eyebrow and the eye, where you kind of use the analogy of the ice, Faru. I feel like that's the part of the image where the face is about to break through. And if you think about this and the delicacy of youth, and being more guarded and protected with the hands up, that face is about to break through the surface of the print, and maybe this person is going to come into their own. I think it's wonderful, and yeah, gold.
Excellent. So if you can keep your score at 92, Craig, and everybody rescore. And we have a gold award at 90. Congratulations to the photographer. Great challenge there, Craig. Can we have the next print, please? We have a score of 73. Everybody's in the same, within a couple of points of one another. Can I have a comment from Christopher, please?
What you needed to do was wander around with the light source so you could see what the potential in this portrait is, because you've just flatly lit it on. So the brightest thing is the baby's ear. If you'd brought the lighting round and up, you would have put more light reflections and highlights into the water. You would have created drama, but you also would have given a beautiful plane of light down the baby's face.
Thanks for that, Christopher. Can we have a blank screen, please? Can we have the next print, please? Judges, I've been informed there's some marks on the matting of this print. Please just ignore that. The print itself is fine. And we have an initial score of 84, silver award. And Christopher, would you like to take the challenge?
I've given this 91. Golds to me just stand out. I don't need to stand and look at it for too long because the initial power is there. I went up to make sure that there weren't any technical issues, didn't find any. So I'm staying with gold. Why? Because this person knows how to light and frame the body. Every single muscle texture is being shown, even the twisted ones are being shown by very careful lighting without overwhelming us. It's a very flattering, homoerotic, athletic pose. It's perfect. And in that sort of Japanese style of wrapping the body in rope, it's this gentleman's floating. I think this is definitely gold.
Thanks, Christopher. Can we hear from you, Faru? You're at the other end.
Yeah, I really find it is very poetic. It's the way the gentleman, the subject actually dancing, and the hand placement, the whole body is so beautiful, it's so flow. But the background, which is repetition of the other poses of the dancer, it's not, has the that three-dimensional feeling of it is totally black and bright, and it's just take attention, and especially when it's come to the right corner of the bottom of the image, when the dancer actually pointing there and looking that space, is like my eyes is just going straight out of from the camera. I can't get back to out of the frame and can't get back to see the rest of the image. For me, it's like I want to flip the image somehow, but I'm listening, Christopher.
Thanks, Faru. Craig.
Yeah, I think the way that the light and the pose in this has been handled is really stunning. But I initially looked at it and thought, oh, this is cool. I like this kind of textural background. Is some kind of use of fabric. And then I stood back and realised actually it's him or them blended softly in the background, and some of those angles actually become much more distracting now I've looked at it for longer and realised what they are. So I think I'm happy to come up into distinction range just for the craftsmanship of this, but for gold, I find those angles a little too distracting.
Thanks, Craig. Because we're talking about gold here, I'd like to hear Sarah Lee. Have you got something to add there?
I just second what's been said by Faru and Craig, that the background is competing with the foreground. I love the dancer's pose. For some reason I would love to see that back foot as well. And I think for an aerial silks dancer, it's beautiful, and just explore this again with a simpler background.
Thanks, Sarah. Lizzie, did you have anything to offer?
Yeah, I had this up at 90, but I'm definitely listening to what Craig said about the background. I mean, I went in there thinking maybe it was part of like the ribbon or something, but now looking at it, I can see that human form, and now I'm kind of fighting with wondering how that fits in with the them in the front. So yeah, so I'm definitely listened, and will judge accordingly.
Okay, Christopher, right reply.
I will address the background. It's a real 1950s look, isn't it, where they would have muslin and tulle and they'd blow it out of focus. And that was the way the film sets were done. But this, because it's got human body in the back, has gone to that step of Angus MacBean where it's abstract, surrealistic parts of his own body as the background, and he's just about to touch one part of his limb. I just think this is gorgeous. But the lighting, we're going to see lighting today which is not even within 100 miles of this lighting of the human body. This is absolute craftsmanship. I think we really need to consider this as gold. And look at the face. The face is so empowering. And that's because of the way it's lit. Yeah, it's just magical. Please come up to gold.
Thanks, Christopher. If you could pop your score in at 91 and everybody else rescore. And we have a silver with distinction at 87. May I have the next print, please? And we have a bronze award at 75. Congratulations. Can I have a comment from Sarah Lee?
Yeah, I think this is a really intriguing image. I think that central figure is so captivating. What I would love to see a little bit more of is a more clearly defined narrative for me. I haven't picked it up in the time we have to view this image. There's some clear expressions coming from the two personalities on the either side, and I just would love to know what the story is because I don't. So, yeah.
Thanks for that, Sarah Lee. May I have the next print, please? And we have a score of 74. Are we all happy with that? Yep, excellent. Can I please have a comment from Lizzie?
Yeah, I really like the tonal range and the control of the lighting. Just watch your crop. I was quite distracted by the cut-off ear at the top. Yeah, well done, photographer.
Thanks, Lizzie. Can we have the next print, please? And we have a bronze award at 77. And we'll accept that score. You're all within a couple of points of one another. Can I have a comment from Faru, please?
Her moment is beautifully captured. The lighting is very well controlled. Perhaps there are some to improve the print image. There are some little bright spots happen. Perhaps it's the flower of the trees, but it's the fruit of the trees. They are really bright and a bit distracting. Tone it down for a better result.
Thanks, Faru. Can I have a blank screen for a moment? We're going to just do a little bit of a judge swap. Faru, you want to take a break for us? Thanks for your time. And Catherine Williams, would you like to join us? And okay. Christopher, do you want to take a break? And we will have Richard on, please. You all right? All right, so we've got Richard Wood and Catherine Williams joining us now. And just while they log on, we'll just give them a moment. Sorry, Richard, you're not well enough. Get out of here. Tony, can you please join us? We're ready to go. Can I have the next print, please? Scores, please, judges. And we have a silver distinction at 88, and we've got Craig's hands just shot into the air. Take it away.
95, gold with distinction. I have not seen a presentation like this before. The printing is incredible, and the cutout in the mat on the right-hand side I think is really cool too. But really, I think if you look at the stuff that's written on the hat there in the shaded figure, it has a quote, "Don't be afraid to let them show your true colours," and that's exactly what this is about. The lighting that hides the colour in the treatment and everything on the left hand side, and you just see that light in the eyes, and they're turned away, and then in the colourful image, they're looking at you. And they are filled with personality and joy, and the colour is joyful, and they have let their true colours show. And I don't know why we're not in gold range at least, so let's talk about this.
Excellent. Lizzie, I'd love to hear from you.
I scored this an A3, and I'm definitely, thanks for putting out about what says on the helmet. I didn't see that when I first went up, and that's what I was struggling with, was the how the first image went connected to the second image, and what that, what is this narrative that these two images together are trying to put. I kind of had a bit of idea, but now I understand. So yeah, I'll be coming up.
Thank you, Lizzie. Tony, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I'm on 85. I'll come up a little bit, but I think the imagery is beautiful. But I feel like the wording on the helmets is to make us understand it. We should be able to visually read something, and I feel like we've been given the messages on the helmet to help us explain it. So spoon-fed that information in a different way with using words when we're looking at something visual that we should be able to figure out. So for me, that keeps it down a level, because I don't like words that are giving us the reason to award something when we're visual storytellers.
Okay, thanks for that, Tony. Catherine?
I was on 88, and the quality of the imagery here is absolutely sensational, and I'm certainly glad we're talking about it. I did feel a little bit the same about the words on the helmet. They felt a little bit obvious to me, and I probably would have loved to have seen the words subdued in the first one and then something different in the second one as this person comes into their own. There was a couple of things that unanswered for me, and I actually love that they're unanswered, but the plaster on the nose really made me curious, and I'd love to hear about that. And yeah, as you say, it's the matting and the presentation of this is seriously innovative. I will come up to gold. I'm not sure I'm quite with you on distinction, though.
Thanks, Catherine. Have you got something to add, Sarah Lee?
I don't have a lot. I scored this 89. To me, the plaster on the nose is the battered, the bruise, the broken lip, the warrior in the fight theme of it. What I have questions about is the cartoon-like treatment. I think it's wonderful and it's joyful, but I don't know if that adds to the mood of the warrior. And then also that second expression, the smile, is a little bit, there's still a little bit of apprehension in there. It's not full joy or full pride or full triumph. So I do have a few reservations. I'll be coming up to gold, but I think had those been resolved, gold with distinction.
All right, Craig, right of reply, please.
Okay, so this is a caricature. It is an over-exaggerated, colourful, smoothed out version of this person being their best self. They're apprehensive because it's really scary. I've been in that position where I'm terrified to show people who I really am. And this is a rainbow warrior. They have been in fights. They've probably been abused. That's the bruised lip and the plaster on the nose. The wording, I don't think we need the wording. The story is really clear without it. I think the wording definitely hammers in that story, but I think that this is genuinely this person's own hat, and that is what they wear when they go out to a pride march and fight for their lives, which is what a lot of the LGBTQ community are having to do now, and it needs to come up in score, so let's rescore.
Craig, keep your score the same at 95. Everybody else rescore. And we have a gold award at 91. Excellent discussion, guys. Well done. We're ready for the next print? Yep. May I have the next print, please? And this print has received a bronze award at 76. Congratulations to the photographer. You're all within 2 points of one another. Can I get a comment for the photographer, please, Catherine? No? Lizzie?
I just wanted to see a little bit better light direction. It's a little bit too flat on her face, which is making her expression quite flat. But other than that, it's beautifully printed.
Awesome. Thank you very much. May I have the next print, please?
Right on 73, really like the serenity of this image. It makes me want to be in this place. I think it's a good application of the technique. Probably what held me from going higher is right along the top. There's a gray, crispy element, and towards the top right, it feels like it's heavy and a little bit bamboo. We crop just a little bit off the top.
And this print has scored a bronze award at 76. Can I get a comment from the maker, from Tony?
Yeah, it's a great award-worthy image for just his nose and his shirt. But yeah, the composition is beautiful. Just watch your treatment of an image. I mean, it's a soft image of a man standing there, but it's been treated quite harshly as far as contrast. So what are you saying with that harsh contrast? That's what you have to think about.
Thanks, Tony. May I have the next print, please? This print has scored 72. May I have a comment for the photographer on how they could improve? Catherine?
Yeah, beautiful, warm colour harmony in here. The girl herself, she has sort of there's a delicate image, and then she feels quite sort of pursed through her face. There's a tension in her face that doesn't sort of hold it all together.
Thanks for that, Catherine. Can we have a blank screen, please, just for a moment? Just run into a little bit of a technical issue on the old computer. Won't be a moment until we get that sorted out. While we wait for help, we've sent out an SOS via a WeChat group. We might introduce some of our judges. So why don't we start here closest to me? Sarah Lee Cobb, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you're all about?
Thank you, Belinda. I'm Sarah Lee. I am a portrait photographer from Whangarei, Northland, New Zealand. I have been a photographer for 17 years. Last week celebrated 10 years in business. This is my 5th year judging. I'm very honoured to be here today. I am the regional representative for Auckland and Northland. I am on the accreditation committee. I'm a proud accredited member of the NZIPP. I've won both the creative and the micro business categories in the Northland Regional Business Excellence Awards held by the Chamber of Commerce. And in my downtime, I'm building my house and teaching myself dry stack rock walling because I love to bite off crazy big challenges.
Thanks for that, Sarah Lee. Craig, why don't you just fill us in just for a second, and then we'll get things back up and running.
I'm Craig Turner-Bullock. I am a pet photographer, been a specialist in the genre since 2001. My business is photography based in Christchurch, and I also run Unleashed Education, which is an online and in-person workshop education platform for pet photographers, which I do with my fantastic partner in crime, Charlotte Reeves, who is an amazing pet photographer based in Queensland.
Thanks for that, Craig. Well, it looks like we're back up and running, so can we have the next print, please? Good judging, guys. Straight into the Gold Award range at 91. We do have... Tony, would you like to challenge that for us, please?
Yeah, I'm on 96. Didn't really have to get out of my seat for this one, really. I mean, it's just back here, those graceful lines, that beautiful soft wrist, the lapping material, and how it's just caressing your body. That beautiful swan-like shape of the neck and the beautiful lines of the face, the curved arch, and just the deeper meaning you can get from this. This is, the base of it, that material loop at the bottom, in that dark loop, and then replicated in the shape at the top. Superb print quality. off the charts, 96.
Okay, thanks for that. I would love to hear from Catherine. You're not far away.
Yeah, I was on 87 with this, and I see all these beautiful elements. I see also the idea of different floral shapes. I see a tulip, a dandelion, and then I see a cabbage on her head for some strange reason. When I got close, the one minuscule element that let me down was the fraying on the fabric. I made some sense of it, in comparison to the organic matter of the dandelion, but I still felt that the fraying didn't quite have the finesse that everything else did. That said, I'm 87 at the moment, and I'd certainly go gold. Whether it's distinction or not is I'm not sure yet.
All right. You've got a little bit of support there with Lizzie. She's on
Yeah, I'm
95.
up there, 95. I think the fraying actually adds a very special little element of, there is no flower that is completely and utterly perfect. And I think that pulls you back down to remind you that it's so delicate and exquisite, and like Tony said, the print quality is exceptional. And that was just that little Easter egg that brought me into the gold of distinction.
Excellent. Thanks very much for that, Lizzie. Can we hear from Craig, please?
Yeah, I scored this 88. I think I'm a little bit mean on that. I actually am glad that you pointed out the fraying, because for me that adds an imperfection that you do find in nature, that I can now relate that fabric, because I saw the tulip down at the bottom and I also thought cabbage. And now I can see that they're in the created and crafted element of this fabric draping, that there is an imperfection that is met by the cabbage and the dandelion, and it ties it all together for me. So I'm coming up.
Thanks, Craig. And Sarah Lee.
Yeah, I scored this image in 89. I think there's a beautiful, graceful Grecian sculpture quality to it. I'm going to be the one who points out the technical, where the hand that's holding the dandelion is really soft compared to everything else in the image, and that wrist is just a fraction too skinny. It makes the hand appear out of proportion. And then the warping on the lower right, where it brings it in, it cuts the line of the back of the shoulder down and into where a human's hip would naturally sit. And I know there's a surrealist element to the way this is composited, but I feel it's taken a step too far by shifting those human proportions. But love the tones of this image.
Excellent. Tony, rebuttal.
When you point a camera at something, it's not how we see it. I mean, I think it's everything here is very deliberate. What I didn't mention the first time is probably the mental interplay here, and with the headset, and what that mentally can mean, and the dandelion effect, and that up at the face. There's a lot of mental stress in this, which is when you're sort of pulled up from the bottom. I mean, when it comes to art, body distortion, that sort of thing, I don't have a problem with that. I think the photographer has done that on purpose, distorted it. I mean, look how artists interpret people with their paintbrushes. I feel that the photographer here has gone out on their own limb in their own art form, and they've done it to an exceptional level. And I implore you to bring it up to where it belongs, and that's gold with distinction.
Excellent. All right. Thanks so much for that, Tony. Just a moment, guys. We'll just get the computer to catch up. Tony, you'll keep your score at 96. And if everybody else could re-enter their scores, please. And you did it. We've got a gold distinction at 96. Excellent discussion. Can I have a blank screen, please? So after that exciting little one, we're going to shake up the panel a bit. Who have we got? We're going to... Craig, can you take a break, please? And Mike, would you like to join us, please? And Sarah Lee, if you could also take a break, and we will have Christopher Ian, please. Okay. Awesome. So if you could log in there for us, please. And we'll have the next print, please.
And we have a 79, which takes us into review. So can I ask the judges please to score 79 or 80 for a bronze award? And we have 79 bronze award. Thank you. May we have the next image, please?
Turn myself off. We have a bronze award at 78, and we're happy to keep it there. Excellent. So well done to the photographer. Can I please get a comment? Can I get a comment from Mike? Yep.
I think the highlight on the mobile phone is quite distracting, but I really enjoy the distortion of the face. So some elements in here are working very well and some are quite distracting.
Thank you very much for that, Mike. May I have the next print, please? We have an initial score of 82, a silver award. We do have somebody who can challenge. Yep, Christopher, please take it away.
I felt this was the complete package. The eyes are convincing, so you've got on board with the subject. Your stylist is on board with the hair. Your colour palette is perfect. It's matched to skin tone. The bronzing through the clothing to the background is brilliant. And the accent of the flower at the back. Hands are placed perfectly. They're absolutely painterly hands. I'm still trying to work out why I didn't go gold. Probably because it's almost too good. It's aesthetically too clean. It's almost bereft of emotion. Until you really look at those eyes and realise you've got into the head of the subject, she's giving you a beautiful face. I just think this is at least silver distinction.
Thanks, Christopher. Catherine or Lizzie? Catherine, thank you.
Excuse me. I was on 78 with this. I appreciate the beautiful styling that has been presented in the bronze colours throughout this, giving her a statuesque feeling. I did feel there is a real fight in between the textures that have been presented on the panel behind and then the detailing up above her head. It doesn't appear to be like a crown or anything like that to me, so it sort of lacks a reason for being there. I also felt while her pose is beautiful, it does feel like she's quite static and she's been in that pose for a very long time. So I'm not sort of feeling convinced.
Thanks very much for that, Catherine. Has anyone got anything to add at all? No? Christopher, rebuttal?
Again, I see this as an absolute group team event. I mean, you've got the subject, the stylist, the dress, and yourself all on board. Your lighting is exquisite, and you've mirrored the body shape with your background. The shell, which is that blue object, the shell just makes it look even more special because it's giving her a crown, like a golden crown you would see in a religious iconic painting. I gave this 89 because the only thing that was against it, I felt, was that aesthetically it's too pure. And that's really cruel, but that's just where you relate to an image. But technically it's perfect, and I really think it should be silver distinction at least.
All right, thanks very much for that, Christopher. If you could please re-enter your score at 89, and if the other judges could please rescore. And we have a silver award at 83. Can we just have a blank screen for a moment, please? Just going to do a quick judge change. Lizzie, if you could take a seat, please, and we would love to have Joe Francis Moore come and join us, please. Okay. Sorry? I'll have you. We don't have you in the system.
We don't have you in the system anymore.
Okay. All right. They just got off. Let's bring Farouk. Farouk's going to have to verify. Sorry. Farouk, sorry, could you come on the panel for us instead of Joe? And may I have the next print, please? Thank you, judges. We have a silver award at 81. And we have a challenge. No, oh, sorry. No, we don't. Sorry, excuse me. Can I have a comment from Tony, please?
What a concept, and documenting something like this, you know, taking the time to think about it. It's very interesting. If I was going to say negatives, you know, after all your hard work and getting things right with the bodies and styling, it's sort of let down by paper choice and matte choice.
Thank you very much. May I have the next print, please? We have a silver award at 81. And we've got a challenge here from Catherine.
I scored this 88. This reminded me of one of those sort of push pin things with all the needles. It reminded me of one of those things where you slide the bits of paper backwards and forwards. It gave a wonderful three-dimensional effect and sort of this feeling of bounce in and out and then motion out to the side. The photographer here has applied a number of different techniques together that almost shouldn't work because there's so many different things going on. And has done it really successfully and created a graphic image that's primarily graphic, but I still get a feeling and a sense from this person as well. And then that sort of motion out to the side. The composition is successful and the paper choice is working really successfully here as well.
Thanks, Catherine. Can I hear from Christopher? You're at the other end.
In my opinion, I actually would have preferred this on a rich black and white paper like a Platoon so that it really zinged. But there's certainly highlight areas and probably generated by the effect in the ear, the nose and the eyes that are just odd. But back here it looks brilliant. That's the problem. But I gave it 74. I'll be coming up, but certainly not into those sort of lofty areas.
Hey. Faru?
Yeah, I feel like I was really looking when I see it, looking for that three-dimensional feeling of it. I feel that it's there, but it's not there because whatever I'm just like moving around and I want to see like the faces is moving like that card postal with three-dimensional, but you can't get it. The shadow behind it feels like you want to get it, but it doesn't work. Maybe the paper chores, maybe different treatment. I think I found that the shadow behind actually really deep and distracting as well.
Okay, thanks, Faru. Rebuttal, please.
The shadow behind, so the shadow behind which outlines, that creates that really striking shape from the shoulder up to the back of the hair and then out the image. I think without that shadow, we're going to really lose the definition that we're being presented with here. In terms of that paper choice, you know, this is an image that sort of deserves to be, you need to pull back from it to get the feel of what we're being presented with. When you get in too close, you're kind of losing a little sense of it there. I'd love to see it come up a little bit.
All right, Catherine, you need to leave your score at 88. Other judges, please rescore. And it stays at 81, silver award. Thank you, judges. May I have the next print, please? We have an initial award of 81, silver award. Very good. And we have a challenge from Tony.
Yeah, I'm on 88. I think I think this is quite original. The feel you get from this with the motion and the body shapes, the movement, the flow of the chickens, the composition, the print quality is superb. The little girl with her eyes, on the bottom right there, with her eyes closed, sort of distracts a little bit from the motion and everything else. That sense of realness in her face kept me out of goal, but I think the rest of the image is very dynamic, but in a soft way that it caresses you and is worthy of a symbol of distinction.
Thanks, Tony. I'd like to hear from somebody who was on the lower end. Mike.
Yeah, I gave the 76, which is a bronze. I really, really like the movement of the girl and the posing of the girl. I think that part of the image is very successful. But I don't sort of feel the harmony with the chooks coming into the frames, because they just don't feel as if they fit there, especially the main chook in front of the little girl. It looks like it's been superimposed. It feels artificial, and the aesthetic's not quite working for me.
Sorry, Fru had a hand up first. Chris, we can come back to you in a moment.
Yeah, I give it 82 because of the choice of paper and the painterly look, the motion, the narrative is there, is perfectly captured. But when it comes to like at the bottom of the image, when the legs there, they are bright, and the brightest area of the image are those legs of the little kids. And I think it's just kind of distracting.
And Christopher.
The far chook on the right would have been enough on that side, and the chook above the child's head could not be in that position. So really it would have looked so much better if it was half disappearing out of the mat or the frame, and then you would have had believability. But you obviously had a fantastic time building this image.
Okay, rebuttal, please, Tony.
Yeah, Prue, I don't mind the legs and the brightness. I think it does literally ground the image. The chooks, I guess, that's, there's a little bit of mayhem with them as a composite or whatever. You chuck a few chooks around, they sort of go all over the place. Not that I'm a chook chucker, but if I could chuck chooks. Yeah. So I sort of probably feel I'm up against it a bit, but I'd like you guys to come up a little bit if you could feel the need. Thank you.
Excellent. If we could get you to keep your score in there, please, at 88, and everybody else rescore. And we've come up a couple of points to 83, silver award. May I have the next print, please? This image scores 76, bronze award. We're all very close in our scoring there, judges. Do we have something to help the photographer? Yes, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, his smile is priceless, but I guess you just have to get past all that colour to get to it. So that's, the green is quite overpowering in the image, but beautiful expression and good stance of the horse.
Thank you. Can I have a blank screen, please? Yep, sure. Farouk, could you step off for a little bit, please? Thanks for your time. And Lizzie, could you please join us again? Yeah. Also, Mike, would you like to take a break? And we would love to bring back Craig, please. Yep. May I have the next print, please?
And we have a score of 72, professional standard. Can we have a comment from one of the judges, please? Tony, thank you.
The presentation in the oval mat works quite well, but what that does is it also gives it a feeling, the space around here makes it feel like it's flying through the air, but that when you get into the baby it feels flat and on, laying on something, so it's sort of playing, it's not quite right in your mind what's actually going on, and your colour choices are not working well with the skin tones of the baby.
Thank you, Tony. That's very helpful for the photographer. Next image, please. Just while the judges are having a look at this image, we are currently in the portrait open category. This category is for traditional, conceptual and or interpretive photographic portraits. There are no restrictions on the type of portrait entered. However, a portrait of an animal or animals without a human are excluded from this category. For those of you on the live stream, we've currently got the judges looking at the image at the front of the room, and they will be returning to their laptops shortly. Thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 87, and we're going to have a challenge here from Christopher.
Again, I feel like I'm out of kilter. I instantly see this as gold. I see it from back here, and I just go in and say, is there any technical reason why it's not gold? Working with a stylist here, you've really created something special. You've actually made probably a statuesque person look diminutive. The folds are gorgeous. There's been discussion through today about material and crushing and damaging. This is just so textural, this material. It looks like it was actually made for her rather than created around her. No, I think this is a magic interpretation of black on white. I'd love to hear why nobody else is with me on gold.
You do have some support, but Tony, can I hear from you? You're just at the lower end a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm on 82. I'll come up into silver with distinction, but there's no way I'm going anywhere near a gold. I think the face is beautiful, but I find it's taking me a long time to get up to it. And sometimes that's okay if it's interweaved and soft, generated up there. But actually, the material, whatever that is very harshly lit, and also like a lettuce leaf, it's quite harsh in its approach. And I sort of find that you sort of get stuck in there in the darker areas of that which aren't soft and beautiful and leading you up to the space. So that's what's kept me at a higher range.
Right, Catherine, you were up there at 88.
Yeah, Christopher used the word statuesque, and that brought the idea of this shape being more like stone, and that really added something to it for me. Initially, I got that sort of feeling that she is like the stamen of the flower, and that is like the delicate treasure that's enveloped inside of this. And I think that that's kind of the point, is that you are meant to take a bit to get into that treasure. And I think, in terms of the tonal handling of this, it's rich and beautiful and elegant, and I'm going to go up to gold.
Excellent. Craig, did you have something to add? No? Lizzie? All good? All right. Rebuttal, please, Chris.
Look, I'll tell you this. Back here, I didn't want to say something because I thought, I don't want to knock a print that's a gold. I don't want to give you any ammunition to waver. But now I look at it, the reason for that highlight in the shadow directly below the head, but right at the base, is if you look from here, it's a hand that de-evolves into either a shell, I think more a shell. So to me, the fingernail of that hand as it de-evolves and then becomes this beautiful shell, and she's coming out. It's just remarkable to think people go to this much effort to create photos for us to enjoy. It's just marvellous. I really think this is gold. Please join me.
All right. If you could re-enter your 90, Christopher, and everybody else rescore. Chris, could you please re-enter your score? And we have a gold award on 90. Thank you very much, guys. I'm sure the photographer is very grateful for your challenge. Can we have the next print, please? So while the judges are inspecting this print and making their decision, just wanted to let you know to make sure you go out and check out the trade area, and also head to the website nzphotoshow.co.nz and see what events are happening over the next few days. There's plenty of activities to do, studio tours, masterclasses, photo walks, workshops, get amongst it. Don't forget to join us on Thursday evening for the Iris Awards wrap party, thanks to Iris Awards major sponsor Sony, and because it's going to be a great way to celebrate the end of the judging. It will also include live announcements of the 2023 category finalists, which I know that we're all excited for. And we've gone into a very high silver with distinction at 89. We're going to have to talk about it anyway. Christopher, would you like to take the challenge?
The conflicting zones of focus, it's just so much like a view camera. You've got the hands in perfect sharp focus going back to the eyes, and then everything just falls away. But you've also got motion in the hair, so the hairstyles become a motion because it's become smoke. again, I just marvel at people's ingenuity. This is totally mystical. People try to create magic and theatre, and it's all in this photo, even in the colour palette, the fingers being blue. Where do you get these ideas from? This is amazing work. I scored at 93.
Thanks so much for that, Christopher. Catherine, you were down the other end at 86, so not too far away.
No, and my immediate response was probably to go a little bit higher. The cool against the warm, peachy tones in there, I think, is really successful, especially with her eyes. There was the hardness in the eyes, lips, nose bridge, and the hands compared to the sort of delicacy through the wispy areas, and the mythical nature of this was something that held me back. Yeah, it's sitting right on the cusp there, and it's certainly close. I'm listening.
Tony, you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on 88. That's what my score was. I'm not going to go up to gold no matter how this goes. I mean, back here, I thought, oh, hello, here we go. This is fantastic. But then when you go up there, you can sort of, I feel the elements have been treated a little bit harshly and not perfected to a gold standard. But like what Catherine was saying about the bridge of the nose and that lighting being quite severe, the darkness in the hands, also the treatment in the hair, outstanding going up through the top. But when I look at that, to me, I look at that and it feels a little bit unresolved. And when I say that, I mean it feels unfinished. So with gold, you're wanting some sort of perfection. I feel it's not quite there for gold, but it's still an outstanding image.
Excellent. Craig, you had something you'd like to say?
Yeah, so I'm at 88 as well, Tony, and I feel pretty comfortable there. I want to give it more. I see Disney for adults. She's going to let it go and shoot out ice at everybody and freeze us all when we don't give her a gold. But yeah, the same. Just that editing treatment on the face feels a little bit too harsh and very crunchy around those facial features for me to take it into gold.
Lizzie, did you have something you'd like to add?
That's one of the things I love about art. I stood back here and the first thing I thought, the initial impact for me was this beautiful girl overcoming a smoking addiction. I might be way off on a different planet, but the more I look at it, the more I feel that. Just the placement of her right arm, and it's like that, in your addiction, but you still have those same habits with your hands, and that's, she's kind of bringing it up to her mouth, and the other one looks like it's flicking the butt of the smoke away, and then just that stark, really look on her face and the smoke disappearing and then kind of blending in the background. I actually found it quite powerful, and that's why I scored it in a 90.
Excellent. Christopher, rebuttal.
Oh, and the blue on her, the blue charred, the smoke on her hands.
I just think this is one of the softest version of the Narnia Ice Queen I've ever seen in my life. The fact that the fingers are evilly blue, but her face is so innocent and young, it's like something's coming down her hands and slowly transforming her. But the reason I really love this is we see focus where the photographer's intended. It has the falling front panel of a 5/4 where the hands are the sharpest, the eyes are the next sharpest, and then the plane, because we've dropped the top of the 4/5, is going towards the hair. So everything else, like if it was a wet collodion, is going to go way out of focus. What does that mean? In a storytelling way, she's coming out of the mist, which is her own flesh, her own dress. I just think the contrast between those very evil fingers and the startled look she's got, this is gorgeous work. I really think this is gold. I really beg you to think about this as representative of the highest quality that you guys are presenting here today. This is beautiful. I've given it 93. Please join me.
Okay. Christopher, if you could re-enter 93 and everybody else rescore. And we've got our gold at 90. Okay, can I have a blank screen, please? Now, Christopher, would you like to take a break, and we'll get Sarah Lee on, please? And I think that'll. Thank you. May I have the next print, please? And this print scores 71. We're all very close in our scoring range there. Craig, would you like to make a comment for the photographer?
Yeah, I really like the emotion of this, with a kind of like a distant memory of times gone by kind of feeling, or something like that. But I think it's important to remember, when you're dealing with silhouettes in any form, that shape is really important, and you're really losing shape, especially in the little boy there, and the central figure is losing shape a little bit too. So different posing to give more definition in limbs and things like that would really help this.
Thanks for that, Craig. Can I have a blank screen, please? Next print, please. And we have an initial score of 84, silver award. And I knew Craig's hand was going to go straight up then. Take it away.
Am I on my own here? 96. This has got so much impact for me. I didn't even realise at first that there were actually two people or a mirroring happening here. I just see, like, I don't know, a demon or a goat's face or something in this design. And then you come in and you look closer and you see it is two people. And the stripes kind of give me like clown, harlequin. And then I'm like, oh, clowns and harlequins are pretty bloody evil. And we've got this evil demonic goat face in this patterning as well. So I think it's really clever, really creative. The print is stunning. And I'd love to talk about it, and I'm probably out on a limb, but if we can get a few more points here, it would be very nice.
Catherine, could I hear from you, please?
On 78, I don't see an evil demonic goat face. I do sort of see like a spinning top or a hypnotist type feel that circulates around, and my initial impact on the design was quite strong. When I came in there and looked at the sort of design of the shapes, I felt a little bit let down by the fact that it was, almost like a replication that we were looking at, and it felt like it was done for design effect, and it didn't bring a lot more to me in terms of emotional impact.
Thanks, Catherine. You have a little bit of support there with Sarah Lee. Would you like to help Craig out a bit, Sarah?
Yeah. So I scored this an 85 purely because of the visual games that this technique plays on the eye. So that there's a lot of looking to see something from it. I did have questions about the image, namely it looks like there's an ice cream cone she's holding to her forehead. That I don't know why it's there, but that's what I see in it. And so, yeah, I still have questions, but I think it's a very unique take on it, and there's just so much to look at that's there.
Tony, you've got something to add.
Yeah, I'm on 82. I'm staying there. I think it's a bit of fun, and it's well awarded in the 80s. But you all sound visually confused about it, so I can't see how you'd score it any higher, really, to be honest, because it is visually confusing.
Okay. Craig, rebuttal, please.
Yeah, I'm definitely on a limb on this one. I think the confusion is also what I like about it. It's like that kind of magic eye thing. Yeah, I don't know what that is she's holding on her head. All I can think of is that it's a horn, and all evil things like this have horns. So, let's just rescore it.
Excellent. You pop your score in at 96, and if everybody else could please rescore. And we have a silver distinction at 85. I'm sure the photographer is extremely happy with your challenge. Thanks, Craig. May I have the next image, please? We have a silver award at 83. Are we happy with that, guys? Yes, Sarah Lee would like to challenge.
Yeah, so I scored this in 85, silver distinction, so few more points up there. I think this is a beautiful study of twins. I think it's a fabulous way to have something that's so close to a mirror image but not a mirror image, where they are both poised and literally having their hands out as if balancing each other. I think there's a whole lot of beautiful, quaint fairy tale like drama in this image. I think it deserves a few more points. I'd like to see it awarded silver distinction.
Catherine, you have something you could add there?
I was on 80, and I'm quite comfortable in silver, really. In terms of the command of the subjects in this, I think is beautiful. The poise and confidence in their faces, colour harmony, everything there is working well. Perhaps, Sarah Lee, you may talk about the reason for the birds in the hand. I'm sort of looking for something more to go up to that next level.
Tony.
Yeah, I'm on 83, and I think that's more than generous, to be honest. I think it feels very manufactured. The girls' faces are great, and their body line on the outside edges with the birds. But the split down the middle, it's like opening a book that has a heavy spine in the middle. that's what I feel about it. So I think it sits comfortably in silver, early silver.
Okay, Sarah Lee, rebuttal.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So I may be out here on my own. I think those hands and the birds are innocent and delicate and about to take flight. And a sweet bird is often, a nickname for a young girl. And I think having those two hands down the centre, that spine, shows the unity yet the individuality. So they're not one; they are clearly two separate people. And also the V that's formed by the hands at the top to the hands down in the centre just really exaggerates the fact that the photographers extended their leg length and brought them up in a statuesque sort of approach. But please score as you see fit. It's a gorgeous image.
Thank you very much. Please pop your new scores in, judges. And it stays at 83, silver award. Okay. Can I have the next print, please? And we have a Silver Distinction Award at 88. And Tony would like to challenge.
Yeah, I'm on 93. I think this is far superior than a silver distinction. So it's definitely gold for me. It's gold in nature, and I think it's far fitting of a gold here. I think it's very sensual, and those sexy, beautiful, soft lines, and that body turned, and the overall treatment, the feeling you get from this, the emotions out there, the print quality superb. Obviously, the file treatment and the it's dark where it should be, but when you go in there, you can still see detail. So that shows somebody who's photography is very smart and understands exactly what they're doing and getting the best out of the print. The gold on that, you feel like you can wrap your hands around her. It's got real dimension. Everything's quite superb about this. I find it hard to fault. 93.
Excellent. Catherine?
I scored this 83. My pain point in this is in the feet, and it appears as if she's either chopped at the ankle and missing a foot, or if her foot is kind of up in the dress, but it sort of lacks the grace at the feet that the rest of it has, and that's left me in silver at this point.
Craig, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I'm at 86. And I guess my pain point, Catherine, was that the hands are just really limp. I think there's a real strength and poise in the pose overall, but I don't see either strength or grace and softness in the hand. I feel like they're just there, just kind of hanging, and that's what kind of kept me up from going higher. I think everything else about it is beautifully done, but just the hands just let it down for me.
Okay. Anybody have anything else to add? Lizzie?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with the feet at all. I think it actually adds to it. It's brings a bit of power at the bottom of that image of lifting her up. Yeah, and it's not chopped off at the ankles, because I went in there looking for that too, but I could see all the toes and stuff. And also, you know, like that contrast with that limp feeling of with the arms, and I just think it's just so exquisitely handled. The lighting and the warmth and the I feel like there's a real deep cultural meaning to this image. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it, and so that for me, I scored it at 92. It's in the gold.
Okay, Tony, take us away.
Because I've been able to sit here and sort of think about what some of the other judges are saying with the feet and the hands, I sort of feel what it is. It's almost like a tidal drag when when the tide comes in and you're swimming, and then it pulls you out, and that's what I feel like. It's pulling her body, but her arms are still limp and down. So you could say that on an emotional level, she's been pulled in one direction, but her arms are limp and not going with her body. Same with the feet. There's there's a softness in the treatment of the legs for something that is quite graphic at the bottom, and there is full detail in the feet there at the bottom, and there's the base of it, which is lit. Also with the when I say about that tidal drag, it's almost like that moon-like sort of feature behind her with that round circular motion. That's how I choose to read it, and I think it's an excellent image, and it's well worthy of a gold.
Thanks for that, Tony. If you could re-enter your score of 93 and everybody else rescore. And we have a silver distinction at 89. So we will need to do a review. I want you to either pop in a 89 if you think it should stay at silver distinction, or a 90 if you think it should become gold. And it stays at 89, silver distinction. Okay. Now, thank you for that, judges. Can I have the next print, please? This print scores 72. May I have a comment from Sarah Lee to help this photographer improve?
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting image. When playing with lights or gels from either side, make sure you're aware of just where the shadow falls, because it can be distracting or take away from the image. And then the crop to the top of the head is very, very tight. So those are just some large things to work on.
Thank you very much. Can I have a blank screen, please? We're just going to do a judge change. Catherine, can you take a break, please? And Faru, can you join us again? Lizzie, would you like to also take a break? And Christopher, can you join us, please? Okay, we all logged in, ready to go? Can I have the next print, please? This print scores 74. And can I have a comment from Craig?
I think this is a really lovely tonality, and I really like the graininess of this. I think it feels like it's more of a portrait of the tattoo on her butt than a maternity image. Watch where the lights go.
Thank you. Can we have the next print, please? I just wanted to remind people in the audience that if they'd like to stick around after judging this evening and meet in the dark room, which is the on-site social space for networking, celebrating and a few laughs. And I'm sure a few shardies. We have a score of 86, silver distinction, and we'll accept that as you're all very, very even across the board. Can I have a comment from Faru?
It's beautifully done. She's the queen of the bees. I think the overall the styling, the lighting, the posing, and everything is exquisite. I gave it 88, and very well done to the photographer.
Can I have a blank screen, please? Faru, can you just take a break for a minute? Don't go too far, please. And Catherine, you're not in the room. We have. Just if you're at home, we're just searching for a judge. Okay, it's a long afternoon. Sometimes we have to nick off and use the facilities. We've got Lizzie back here. I think she's going to join us. Thank you. Yeah, Lizzie got here before you, so that's it. We'll need you in a minute though, so just hang out if you can. All right, are we all ready? Have the next print, please. We have an initial score of 82, silver award. And Tony is busting a challenge this one. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm on 92. I will forgive you guys for missing it.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry, I don't. But what I see, anyway, for what it's worth, you know, the way this woman is sitting at the edge of the frame, you can feel her, you can feel and see her life, her open nature with her hands, her expression. You can see what sort of life she has lived. That the lighting on her is superb. The framing of it, to me, is perfect. The way her face shape rolls down, and then whatever that is on her clothing top there, just rolls down, and then her arms just whip out, and you can just see her open. Look at her hairline, look at her jawline, look at the size of her ear, look at the lighting on her neck. You can just feel this lady's hardship of a you know, a life well lived. The black and white is superb. The square nature of it, maybe not quite square, but it sort of pulls you in and holds you there, and doesn't let you fall out of the image too well. But yeah, I just think it's a very strong piece of communication. It's very simple, but yeah, to me it's really good storytelling in a very simplistic way.
Okay, Christopher, you're on the other end.
I gave this a bronze at 77. Let's start. As Tony accidentally mentioned, from this angle it looks like a square. It's brilliant as a square, but as a rectangle there's even more black void with no information or no referral to her past life or influences or things like that. As a square, it's quite well self-contained. The lighting on the subjects, even from the face, in fact her forehead, all the way down to her hands. We want to see the hands, of course, but wouldn't it be much more poetic if the light just feathered as it left her face so that her neck didn't receive so much attention and that her hands were just there without getting the same sort of values as her facial plane. I love character studies, but I just think this one's a little too much negative space.
Craig, you've got something you'd like to add?
Yeah, so I scored 82, and I will be coming up to at least a silver distinction. When I first saw it, I really wished this was an environmental portrait and we got to see more of this person's life around her. But as I sit here looking at it more, she's had her life, and the blackness is the void that maybe is the next stage. So I am finding that this blackness and this negative space is actually enhancing the image and not taking away, which was my initial reaction. So yeah.
Thank you. Tony, rebuttal?
Yeah, so Christopher used the word void, and I love that. I think it really suits this image. I mean, if we showed her environment, it would just be too obvious to me, and you know, your eye would just roll around everything. And I don't think you need to know that. You can sort of get that feeling from the lady and the negative space, and it's almost like she is there, sitting there thinking, and so that invites us, the viewers, to interpret that how we do. Just like reading a book paints a picture in your mind. I think you can get inside her mind here and you can figure it out yourself. I think it's beautiful. I love that sort of L-shaped nature of her body. Please come up to gold if you feel the will.
Okay, judges, please rescore. And we have a silver with distinction, 86. Okay, may I have the next print, please? Poor Tony's got no one to... And we have a silver award at 83. And we'll accept that score. Can we please have a comment from Christopher?
You're so close. I mean, you're obviously on top of your game here. I mean, you really know how to light these little subjects. My only issue, the only reason when you come up close it falls apart, is the two girls, the centre girl and the right girl, have very similar facial plane expressions, meaning they're facing almost the same way. And when you're that close, it's slightly annoying when the other girl's giving you such a treat. So the middle girl just needed to turn her head around to be more front on, and then you would have had 3 different facial planes.
Sorry about that. May I have the next print, please? This print scores 71. May I have a comment from Lizzie to help the photographer?
Yeah, I'm just a bit unsure about the white, the batting with the white around the rim. I just find that, I mean, seem to find I'm looking more at that than the actual image itself, and just be careful with your highlights and your colour casts.
Thank you very much for that, Lizzie. May I have the next print? Okay, we have a score of 83, silver award. We do have a chance. No, we're happy with that. Can we please have a comment? Oh, silver award. Let's make sure that we applaud. It's a great award. Tony, can I have a comment for the maker?
Yes, I think this is outstanding work. Probably where it just fell apart with me was just the cut-out nature on the face. Just I sort of found that felt a little bit unresolved and just a little bit awkward, but not in a tension type of way, just more of a finishing way.
Thank you very much. May I have the next print, please? This print scores 73. Can I have a comment from Sarah Lee to help out the photographer?
Yeah, I think this is a beautiful, quaint expression from a gorgeous little girl. I think with the Portrait Open category, we're really looking for something that's over and above in terms of creativity, innovation, and technique that we haven't seen before, because we can do anything we want in this category. It's really wonderful to see that. I think perhaps a different category would have scored the image in a higher place, but also watch the background, make sure everything that's inside that image draws us back to that person. So just those background details are also quite distracting.
Thank you, Sarah Lee. May I have the next print, please? And we have a silver distinction at 85. We're all around the same scoring range, so great job. Can I have a comment for the photographer, please, Christopher?
You've been very brave allowing us that extra third or 20% on the left, because it's not contributing enough. And another thing, when you switch on lights like you have, you're creating a lot of issues for yourself. So why not introduce just an element of colour into your photo by bringing up the saturation just a whisker? Because you're giving us a really great light source which would play wicked with what probably is happening in the photo if it just had a tiny bit of colour.
Thank you very much for that. Can I have a blank screen, please? We are going to shake up some of these judges. Lizzie, would you like to take a break, please? And we'll get Faru back, please. And Tony, would you like to have a break? And we will get Richard, if we can, please. Thank you. Okay, and if we could have the next print, please. This print scores 77, a bronze award, and we're all very close there. So can I please have a comment for the maker, Carrick?
Yeah, I think it's a really lovely relationship between the two that you can see clearly here. The oval mat is really nice with the arms. I think it's been a little bit over-edited, especially in the girl's eyes. Just really watch the whitening of the eyes. It's very, very stark there.
Thank you very much. May I have the next print, please? Okay, this print scores 74. Can I have a comment for the photographer, please, Faru?
Interesting concept. I really encourage photographer to discover this, work on this concept more, maybe more close up or even detail shot, because the dust actually creates such a beautiful outfit for the pregnant woman, and working on expression as well. Well done.
Thanks so much, Faru. So that was our last print entry. We are going to switch over to our digital entries now. So, judges, if you need to run to the loo, do it really fast. If not, hang out here, get up, shake it all out, and get refreshed. And we'll be back really, really soon. Okay, we are back with our digital entries. We have got Catherine Williams, Richard Wood, Faru Yavari, Craig Turner Bullock, and Sarah Lee Cobb on the panel, and we can have the first image, please. And we have a bronze award at 78. Congratulations. Can I have a comment for the photographer, please, Sarah Lee?
Yeah, this is a very intriguing image. Congratulations to the photographer on the Bronze Award. I think styling-wise, there's two very different feels. We've got the very soft pink, flowy outfit, and then the very graphic, angular hair and headpiece. I think if those two had been a little bit more similar, or if we'd gone all in the graphic or all in the soft style, it would have been a much stronger image.
Thank you very much. Can I have the next image, please? We have a silver award at 84. Can I have a comment for the photographer, Craig?
Yeah, I think this is a really well put together idea. I think the tonal harmony of everything works really well. Some of the elements, I think particularly the ferret has a very different lighting direction from the light falling on the dress and the rest of the image. So, yeah, just watch where the light comes when you're compositing your images.
Thank you very much. Can I have the next image, please? And everybody, just want a quick reminder of the Ian Poole Award. Go out, there's a little box out the front there that you can vote for your favourite judge. Yeah, pop your selection in there. We have a score of 76, Bronze Award. We do have a challenge from Catherine at the end.
Perhaps I'm on a limb here. I have given this 85, and that was due to my response, which felt like a deep level of grief that I got from this. This curled up figure who has lost herself. I could be wrong, but the box on the radiator, I thought could possibly be a box of ashes. I'm not sure about that, but I still got an emotional response to this that felt higher than a bronze.
Thank you for that, Catherine. Richard, can I hear from you, please?
Yeah, look, I see everything you're talking about, Catherine. I firmly believe, though, we need to have all the foundations in place before we can really start appreciating the image for those good things you're talking about that are in there. And just unfortunately, in terms of the editing, there's been quite a bit of editing being done in there, and there's some issues that I find quite large. With the grittiness around the photo frame, the picture frame, under the table and the shadows, and everything is very, I'm finding a little bit rough, and that's what's held me back at 74.
Okay, Sarah Lee, have you got something to add?
Yeah, I scored this a 72 as well, because I see the grief and I feel the loneliness, and then I didn't see the little box, which may be ashes, but I do see the game of life on the on top of the tabletop, and to me, like, this right third of the image breaks down into a really interesting texture, whereas kind of painterly, very rough, and then I don't know why that treatment's been applied, and that's where the question lies, and therefore I don't feel like I understand the image enough. And that big picture frame in the background, to me, looks like it's a copy and paste of the floorboards directly under the black cabinet, and again, that raises more questions. So I think, yeah, I think it's worth high professional standard, but I won't be going up to bronze.
Okay. Anybody else? Catherine, rebuttal?
I will probably say I'm out on a limb. Thanks for your comments.
Please rescore, judges. And it stays at 76, Bronze Award. May I have the next image, please? Tony, can you jump in for Richard, please? We have a silver award at 82. We, we are happy with that? Yes, so we'll accept that score. Can we please have a comment for the photographer, Faru?
It has such a strong narrative. It's like mother of nature, and the egg actually in her hand is just add to the story of perhaps she wants to be mother, or she's mother, so she's a their narrative is beautifully presented. There are some area to improve the image. There are some area is more sharper, like the nest at the top of the head compared to the face. Perhaps just pay attention to those details could develop the image.
Thanks, Faru. May I have the next image, please? And this image scores 72. May I have a comment for the photographer, please, Catherine?
Sorry. Sorry, maybe so.
Okay, sorry. Faru, have you got something?
Beautiful portrait. I think the portrait is overly handed. The retouching of the on a face, and especially the outfit around the neck, is really overly handed. Perhaps less retouching for more natural result.
Thank you, Faru. May I have the next image, please? This image scores 69. And can I have a comment for the photographer, please, Richard?
Some interesting abstract here. I very much feel that for a portrait category, we needed to see a little bit more personality and human element. And I'm also seeing some scratches and texture in there that's just as strong as the image itself. So it's overall it's a little bit too confusing, I think.
Thank you very much. Can I just do a quick judge change? Faru, can you step off for me, please? And I'd love if Christopher could please take her place. Okay. Next image, please. This print scores 77, Bronze Award. May I have a comment for the photographer, please? Sarah Lee?
Yeah, beautifully lit images. I think these are really gorgeous. There is a wee bit of banding just in the shadows, especially on the lady. Personally, I don't see the correlation between the two characters much more than the feminine being dressed up and paraded and created in a grand manner, and then the man being subdued and literally dropped down to the bottom of the image and still looking quite rough. I think had there been a stronger narrative that I could pick up within the time allowed, it would have been a stronger image.
Thanks, Sarah Lee. I'm just going to do another quick judge change. Craig, would you like to take a break? And Joe, if you could join us, please.
Shall I just be Craig?
No, you can come in.
You can be a person.
No, you can be floating one. It's a very important role. Okay, may I have the next image, please? We have a silver award at 81. We're happy with that, everybody? Excellent, congratulations. Can I have a comment for the photographer, please? Catherine? Yeah.
I applaud the photographer for the concept here. I do feel that the cut-out nature feeling of this is letting it down a little bit from going higher, and it does feel, you don't get a sense of depth throughout that background. It feels like it's all very much on the same plane. It makes it feel a little bit more like a backdrop. However, there's a wonderful posing and narrative in there.
Thank you very much. May I have the next image, please? We have a score of 77, Bronze Award. We're all rather close there, so can I get a comment for the photographer, please, Joe?
This is a really interesting concept, and I can sort of see where you're going with it, but I don't feel like it's been that well resolved. The middle expression isn't quite neutral. It's almost a little bit of the resting bee face, and the other two aren't really enough of one thing or another either, and the skin tones have got quite a lot of sort of red, sort of muddy bits on them as well.
Thanks very much for that, Joe. Richard, would you like to jump back on the panel? And we'll have the next image, please. This image scores 73, and that's all very consistent judging. Can I have a comment for the photographer, please, Sarah Lee?
Yeah, this is a very cute image, and if it was for a client, I do think that the parents would absolutely love that. I think with this particular photograph, the colour toning where the greens have been subdued to yellow, I don't think that adds to the image. The pink to the left is also quite distracting. And if we are searching for a narrative and a reason why our little fairy girl's feeding the geese, I'm not quite sure, other than she's just a child in fancy dress in a park. So there are a few more things, and I think when crafting an image for a category like this, starting with the concept rather than an object or an outfit may be a wonderful beginning.
Thank you, Sarah Lee. May I have the next image, please? This print scores 74, very even judging across the board. Can I please have a comment for the photographer, Catherine?
Yeah, obviously the contact sheet idea is obviously presented to us. Each of these captures, the lighting on her is quite hard with shadows, and there's also there's not enough sort of interest to hold us there and bring us higher.
Thank you. I'm just going to do a quick judge change. Sarah Lee, would you like to take a break? And we would love Lizzie to join us again, please. And we'll have the next image, please. This image scores 74. Once again, really consistent judging. Can I have a comment from Lizzie, please?
Just be careful of when you put a glow on a light like that. I mean, a candle light, the glow is going to come from the flame, not from the candle itself.
Great feedback. Can I have the next image, please? This image scores 72, and once again, very consistent scoring. May I have a comment for the photographer, please, Christopher?
The image is overly lit for the drama of a window light, which is a bit sad because you could create some really good zones in there if you started burning and dodging. Also, look at where things are. There's something growing out of the spoon, wooden spoon. It's obviously the hinge of the door. There's something growing out of the cat that's part of the lady's leg. So you need to look at those elements before you commit to us your final image.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to do another quick judge change. Richard, would you like to step off and take a break? And Tony, can you please join us? And we'll have the next image, please. This image scores 78, Bronze Award. And it looks like we're all happy with that one. So can we have a comment for the photographer? Yes, sorry. Congratulations. Getting late in the day. Can I have a comment for the photographer, please, Lizzie?
Yeah, I think that the composition control of the light is really good. I was just rather confused about the matting and whether it is it part of the actual photograph that's being presented or if it is just the matte.
Can we have the next image, please? Just a reminder that this category is sponsored by Ilford. I've got a little blurb here to read. For over 137 years, generations of customers have demanded the very best. And this is why they continue to choose Ilford. Operating from our manufacturing headquarters in Cheshire, UK, our products are shipped around the globe and into the discerning hands of beginners, enthusiasts, students and professional photographers, as well as leading labs, classrooms and darkrooms. We have a score of 70 for this image. And it's all very, very consistent again, so we will accept that score. Can we have a comment for the photographer, please? Lizzie, you've got something to say?
I really would like to have seen it in a landscape, without cropping out the pumpkin and the lantern, and yeah, just different presentation.
Thank you very much. Next image, please. And this image scores a bronze award at 76. May I have a comment for the photographer, please, Jo?
Sure. This is a really strong graphic. I'm not entirely sure how you could have elevated it because it is quite a simple image, and we probably needed a bit more story or a bit more drama to come into some of the higher award ranges. It looks like Christopher's going to give some feedback.
Christopher, you got something to add?
Yes, for a woman who's so out there and striking, you've made her so modest that she has to wrap her breast with the worst elbow. So really, you could have done something with those hands. She's probably the sort of lady to have no issue with breasts being in the photo, and they would go with the flow.
Thanks, Christopher. Just one more quick judge change. Jo, thanks for joining us. Can we get Faru back on the panel, please? And Christopher, thank you very much. We'll have Craig back, please. And next image, please. This image scores 74. And we're all pretty similar across the board there. Can I have a comment for the photographer, please, Craig?
Yeah, I really like the statuesque nature of this. It feels very kind of godlike. I think that the positioning of the crop at the bottom of the reflection is a little bit awkward, and the addition of the flare in the top isn't really reflected in the lighting on the subject.
Thanks very much. Can we have the next image, please? And we have a silver award at 82. Everybody's pretty even there. Can I get a comment for the photographer, please, Tony?
Quite an innovative approach to something like this. The colours work really well, and just highlighting those separate images with circles is quite different. I guess you got to remember when we're judging something in an environment like this, we don't have time to look at every little detail. So maybe less is more in some ways.
Thank you so much, Tony. Can I have the next image, please? This image scores 77. Bronze award. I'm getting a bit slow as the day goes on, hey? Everybody is within a point of each other, so can we have somebody help the photographer out, Faru? Oh, Tony, you want to do it? Somebody go. Faru?
Very divine color palette. There's a narrative here, but I think the scar on the arm is really sharp and is not really believable, and it's very dominant and distracting. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Can we have the next image, please? This image scores 72, and we're all within the same scoring range. So can I please have a comment for the photographer, Craig?
Yeah, I think this is a really fun concept. I feel like the little girl is looking back, sort of saying to the photographer, am I doing this right? Rather than being actually engaged in the moment and kind of playing like peekaboo with a mannequin.
Thank you so much. Next image, please. This image scores 73. And once again, some very consistent scoring. Tony, would you like to make a comment for the photographer? Thanks.
I think the colours are soft and beautiful, and all the elements are there, but it's just that reflection is just too much. There's just too much information. The bottom end of the image is just quite distracting. And that reflection is just not necessary at all.
Thank you very much. Can we have the next image, please? This image scores 70. And could we please have a comment for the photographer, Catherine?
Yeah, the expression does match the finger gesture. The catchlight in the eyes is quite dominating, and also what is behind the baby's head on the left-hand side of the image is quite distracting as well.
Thanks for that, Catherine. Can we have the next image, please? This image scores a Bronze Award, 76. And everyone's pretty consistent. Can I please have a comment for the photographer, Craig?
Yeah, I think the graphic and the narrative of this is pretty strong. A couple of editing things let it down really for me. The background is obviously mirrored. The skin smoothing is a little bit heavy-handed, and I think the pull in the skin looks much more like pull in fabric rather than you would expect it in actual skin. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Craig. And can I have the next image, please? This image scores 72. Once again, very consistent. And can I have a comment for the photographer, please? Tony.
I think all the elements are there for a great picture. What you need to do is consider what you want people to look at, because at the moment the hand up above is lit very strongly, as is the girl, so your eye gets pulled in both directions. And also, her body doesn't feel like a puppet, it still feels like she's just standing there.
Thank you so much for that, Tony. That was the last entry in this category. So, judges, please don't go anywhere because we want to keep you around for PPY judging. If you do need to run to the toilet, just do it quickly. Thank you to Ilford for sponsoring the Portrait Open category today. Thank you to Olivia, my assistant here. We've done a great job. We've done a great job to finish it when we did. So thank you to all of the judges as well. We had Mike Langford, Craig Turner-Bullock, Richard Wood, Lizzie Gilmore, Sarah Lee Cobb, Tony Carter, Faru Yavari, Joe Francis Moore, Catherine Williams, Christopher Ian. I'm not sure, Sarah Lee Cobb. I'm not sure whether we've got everyone there, but thank you to everybody. Thanks.